Yo, yo, yo. History, his story. Every single person has a history, a story. It doesn't define who you are or who I am or who we are, yet it shapes who we get to be moving forward. And so I would like to take you on a little journey of my origin, my history, and what got me to this moment in this life and living this beautiful pad, doing what I do, being part of CMB. And it all literally started with my mum, and it all started with your mum as well. And so my beautiful mum, her name is Therese, if you may have seen her on social media. And so yeah, she's a beautiful Mulberry lady, and won't go too much into mum's childhood story, that's her stuff. But yeah, she brought me into the world with my dad, and has literally, this is the first tattoo I got, mum's name on my heart. And so I'm the eldest of 5, and dad left when I was 7. And so for the next 3 to 4 years, and we bounced around for a little while until I think we were at 12, that we grew up in Housing Commission. Mum was raising 4 kids on her own, and I teach a lot about warrior energy, and like that right there, a woman raising 4 kids on her own, having 3 part-time jobs just to pay rent and feed us, was like phenomenal for my mum to do that. And it wasn't until I was a man, in my early 20s, I realised how much my mum sacrificed for the life that we had. I just reflecting, there's a couple of things I just remember that mum would say, "Oh, here darling, you have my dinner." And at the time I was a young boy, and so I'd eat it because I was hungry. But looking back, I realised that there actually wasn't enough food, and mum would give me her food. And today is a really humbling moment, and why I want to share this story and my journey with my mum is in 3 days time holding the 9th Blokes Ventures 3-day retreat, and my mum is actually coming to help prepare all the food with Michelle. And it's a deep honour and reverence to have my mum be part of this life that I've created. So just winding the clock back, and so when in that housing commission, dad leaving, I was always looking up to older men, always looking for that eldership role, because my dad wasn't present, and then he came present back in my life when I started playing football, and I had a little bit of an interaction, but I was always looking for an eldership role. And it's pretty interesting that that's the role that I'm now in what I do. And so because I was always looking for eldership, I became the elder or the leader. So I excelled in rugby league, played very high level rugby league, was on contract, played for New Zealand, my country, and played for Queensland, was on contract with an NRL team, and I captained every team I played in. So I became what it is that I needed. Went into construction and worked my way, and and this is something that mum taught me, was my work ethic. I always excelled in everything I ever did. I was like an overachiever, whether it was academic at school, my sporting, and then when I got into the trade, just worked my ass off until I became a boss. I was a boss at the age of 24. And so people that were working for me were double my age. And that was very challenging as a young man, trying to navigate all of that. And then through construction, I found that I had this knack of leading men, but I had a greater calling or purpose for life. So I left construction and started doing this. And it was really interesting, because when I made that shift and started doing this, a lot of my best mates that I'd had mates for 10, 15 years, challenged what the growth or the change within me. My best friend attacked me, saying I was in a cult, and it really stung me. It deeply, deeply, deeply stung me that my friends weren't going to accept me for this change of life that I wanted or change of manhood, or growing into a different version of myself. And I just share that because I know that many of you watching this right now would be sitting in that fear. The fear of, actually, I want to be this man, but there's other people that are holding me back, that are saying stuff, that are ridiculing me, that are putting me down, that are holding me back. And one of those, mum wasn't ridiculing me, though the very first video I put out, because I went without social media. I went without social media for a couple of years because it was feeding my jealousy. And so back then I would go on my ex's page, look at a post, I would scroll through all of her comments, look for a dude, and then go onto his page, compare myself to him, and then when I get home I'd ask, how did you meet him? And want to know everything. Super insecure. And I realized that, so I literally cut out social media. I was like, I can't be this man anymore. I don't want to have that, so I deleted it. For those that know me personally, you would know that I'm a hugger. Like I love hugs. I get complimented on my hugs, and I now need to give my mum props because my mum is the most prolific hugger on the planet. She's broken pairs of my sunglasses. Like when mum comes in for a hug now, I've got to make sure that my sunnies are off because she's a big Māori lady, not big, but she gives a big Māori hug like this, boom. And part of that Māori, like I was born in New Zealand, I have Māori heritage. My mum's Māori, and so I lost a little bit of that culture and heritage because I moved to Australia when I was 4. When I was 17, I got to go back to New Zealand and play football for New Zealand. I was captain of this team, and we learned our own haka. And the coach took us back there for I think it was like 30 days, and we toured the North Island and stayed on Marais, and like literally the men's retreats and everything that I run now. He did that for us at 17. So I got to go and experience my culture, my heritage, face to face. Like I'm getting chills right now. And got to learn my haka and learn language and everything like that. And then back to the mum and I's relationship over the past, say, 5 years since I've really gone down this path of personal development and men's work. It's been interesting because the more that I've learned about personal development, the more I realised that I needed to break up with my mum. I needed to actually have a relationship with my mum that was like man to woman, not me looking up to my mum. And as children, we do this. Our parents are gods. We look up to them, and that means that they have our power. And so it was a beautiful. I had to do a speech at a youth forum, and it was literally for me in my journey. The very first thing I needed to overcome was my fear of public speaking. So I did some manifestation stuff with Dr. Joe Dispenza, his meditations, visualized this me speaking, and broke through my fear of public speaking in front of 300 youth and their parents. And through that speech, I spoke about my childhood, and I noticed a lot of anger coming up in my body. And so my mentor, Preston, at the time, is like, he's like, yeah, man, you got to go have that discussion with your mum. I'm like, oh, I can't have that. And in my mind, I was back to the 7-year-old boy, and that I couldn't have my mum be angry at me. And it was just divine timing. It was my brother's wedding that weekend. I was actually going back to see my mum face to face. It's like, hey mum, can we have a chat tomorrow after the wedding? And talked about my childhood and talked about experiences, how I viewed them, and how I didn't realise how they affected me. And it was an amazing conversation that mum and I got to heal, and mum got to, sometimes didn't remember the things, but we got to talk about my perspective as a boy and what I needed as a man. And so we've come back to this beautiful dynamic. And mum has always been super proud of me and super vigilant in telling me how proud she is of me and all of our kids, my brothers and sisters. And men's work has been something new and unfamiliar, and definitely I'm the black sheep of the family of what I'm doing. And it was super challenging at the start because I knew that, even my friend circle, that they didn't understand what I was doing. But what I learned about myself and the sovereignty within myself was I don't need them to know. So long as I know it in here, I can keep walking this path and be this. And what I have discovered is that the more that I'm owning who I am, the more it magnetizes and people want to come and be part of that, my family included. And so my brother sent me a message 6 weeks ago. And it was it brought me to tears, him acknowledging me and the work that I do. The first time he's done that. And it was brought us even deeply closer, and we started talking on a deeper level. So back to mum. I remember I invited mum to a few things and she didn't come, but she came to my first workshop, and it was really cool to see, for her to see me what I'm doing, because she was always there with construction and football and my bar job and all that kind of stuff. To have her in the room then was amazing. And then she came down to a breathwork session that myself and Cuzzy Dan held down in Brisbane, and I literally got to facilitate my mum. And that was a deep honour for having my mum lay and breathe, and I held space for her. And she popped, man, she met consciousness, and it was a phenomenal experience. And from there, my mum has asked me to teach her meditation. she has she's a manager herself, and she leads people, and she's like she's got a team, and she's like, how can I introduce some gratitude practices into my team? And she's always asking. She was now watching my videos and commenting on my videos, and now she gets to come and be part of the 3-day retreat. And so why I'm sharing this story, or my story, my history, is that it's to come full circle. And to have mum not quite understand what I'm doing with men's work, but then now to just see the man that I am and the man that I continue to be. So yeah, mum, I love you. Mum, I love you so much. Super excited to have you here on the next retreat. You're an amazing woman. Just what you did for all of us kids has been amazing, and continue to do. And the woman that you've developed into, and just the level of the conversations now that we're having is super cool, super cool. Super excited to do a mushroom journey with you and Dad. Super excited for that, and just to, yeah, it's I remember when we smoked our first joint together, but it was so high. Oh, it was interesting because it was the first time we did that together. I think I was about 32. And it's when I told Mum I'd been molested, and so I hid that from my mum for like 32 years, or not 32 years, but like 20 years, whatever it was. So that was a pretty heavy discussion to have when we're high, but it was just that, yeah, it was a barrier. I needed to let that wall down and allow my mum in, and but yeah, I just feeling all the beautiful memories right now of the love that Mum was just devoted to me and the kids, and gave us like so many opportunities so we could have this life. Forever blessed and grateful for all the lessons, all of the adversity that we faced, the resilience that we faced. We just always kept coming back to Whānau, coming back to family. And yeah, I just want to say also thank you for the culture. Thank you for being Māori. Like it's beautiful. It's really beautiful to know that that's a beautiful culture. And if you look, like, it's for everyone now. You look, everyone on the planet knows, not everyone, but like so many people and nations across the planet know the haka. They know the haka. One of the smallest countries in the world, but they know the haka. And why is that? It's because where it comes from. It's this place of pure heart, mana. And so yeah, Mum, it's exciting, really exciting, and I'm excited for how this now, in the next chapter of life, unfolds. Grandma of 9, and then a relationship that you and I get to cultivate and turn into exactly what it is that we desire. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm so pumped. This is the first time I've done something for 6 months. For those that don't know, I've just had a baby girl. We have had baby girl Ocean. She is 5 months old. And so yeah, stepped away from CMB 6 months ago, and so this is the first thing back face to face, and so it's going to be nuts. And then I had my mum there. It's just this beautiful round out, I feel, of 2021 and everything that's been going on the past couple of years, and then just to have the crew, the men, the gatekeepers, all of these brothers, and then have my mum be part of it. It's yeah, it means a lot to me. It means dearly to me. So thanks guys for tuning in. It's nice to be able to talk about my journey, my history, and yeah, for the new people that have followed me and stuff, to know a little bit about me, my journey. And I wish moving forward to share a little bit more of my journey and like what got me here, and yeah, what I've moved through, because there's a lot of different aspects. And that youth forum I spoke about, I put a 40,000 foot view up of my life and looked at these pivotal milestone moments in my life of like why I do what I do. And so yeah, there's a lot of them that I haven't shared on social media, so I'm going to start sharing a bit more of my origin, my story. So yeah, if you'd like to know anything, ask me too. It'd be nice to hear or get a question of like anything that you'd like to know about me. That'd be really cool too. I'd love to do that. So yeah, much love. I feel complete. I feel better than complete actually. I'm buzzing right now. I can feel like a nervous energy of excitement of being seen in this love for my mum. Yeah, it's everyone knows how much she means to me, and then it's, yeah, I can feel myself not wanting to connect. And so that's beautiful. It's interesting. I'll explore that more. So yeah. All right, guys. Much love. Peace.